The Sunrise and the Reaping by Suzanne Collins was released last March 18, 2025, and it became a huge news to all Hunger Games fans. It was especially present when the book sold more than 1 million copies in the first week, especially since Lionsgate Films also revealed that this book was getting a movie adaptation by November 20, 2026. They started production this year, and it's so fast, considering that the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or the other prequel Suzanne Collins wrote, was published in 2020. Fans like me had to wait for 2023 before a movie adaptation was released for that book, so hearing that The Sunrise and the Reaping was released just this year, and a movie was coming out already next year, is honestly insane. From this huge news, the Hunger Games Instagram page has released casting update after casting update for the new movie. And in this video, I'll be going through these talented actors and actresses to give some background on each of them and overall just share my thoughts. So with that said, let's get into it. Let's start with a casting update for Haymitch Abernathy. Haymitch is the main character in The Sunrise and the Reaping, as this book talks about his life in the Hunger Games and how he became the mentor Katniss eventually met in the future. For the new movie coming out next year, he will be played by Joseph Zeta. In terms of age, Joseph is actually 4 years older than Haymitch in the book. During his Hunger Games, Haymitch was 16 years old, but Joseph is currently 20. And that's something I noticed with Hunger Games cast members. They tend to age up the characters or the actors, and I guess it's because it's harder to hire kids who could do the things Jennifer Lawrence or Josh Hutcherson did in the Hunger Games, but it kind of defeats the purpose of how brutal the games actually were. Like, the books are about children fighting each other to the death. It was meant to be painful and horrifying. But again, I understand the need to age up the characters in the movies, especially since the actors in the movies managed to portray their respective characters really well. It actually made me forget their age difference in the books, and I think that's a true testament to their acting. So, going back though, Joseph is an Australian actor who worked on a few movies like the 2019 movie Belched and the 2024 TV show Total Control. Aside from portraying Haymitch, Joseph is yet to appear in a TV show adaptation for We Were Liars this June. I actually talked about We Were Liars in my book recap for 2022, so I was genuinely shocked that it was getting an adaptation. Like, I did not hear of that until now, but in that show, Joseph will be playing Johnny Sinclair. From what I can gather about Joseph, he doesn't have that many films for us to really analyze his acting. But appearance-wise, he kind of matched Woody Harrelson, or the actor who played Haymitch in the original trilogy. There, Woody had blonde hair and blue eyes just like Joseph, but these physical traits weren't like Haymitch in the book. In the book, Haymitch was born in the seam or the poorer side of 12, so he had dark hair and gray eyes. I thought that this movie would go with that description too, but seeing that Joseph Zeta clearly does not match that, I realized that they're trying to go with what they had with Woody Harrelson to have more continuity, which I understand. It's a nice detail that the producers are going with because it helps connect the dots for movie watchers and book readers too. Moving forward is the casting update for Lenore Dove Baird. Lenore Dove is Haymitch's girlfriend who was part of the Covey, or the group where Lucy Gray Baird was once a part of. And yes, technically speaking, Lucy Gray is related to Lenore Dove, and even if I knew this, nothing could have prepared me for Whitney Peake, the Ugandan Canadian actress who will play Lenore Dove. Whitney looks so much like Rachel Zegler, or the actress who portrayed Lucy Gray, so it's clear they're trying to go for that continuity again because they're trying to emphasize how they're related. Personally, I didn't really imagine Lenore as Whitney. I actually picture her as a redhead for some reason because of that description about how her hair looks like all fire in the sun, but I do like that continuity aspect of her casting. So let's talk about Whitney. Whitney is currently 22 years old, and compared to Joseph, she starred in a lot more movies or shows. Some of these are Molly's Game, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Campfire Kiss, and Home Before Dark. Aside from playing Lenore Dove, Whitney has 5 upcoming projects for both this year and next year, so she's pretty booked, but I'm so excited to see her as Lenore. Next is Maysilee Donner's casting. Maysilee is Haymitch's fellow tribute who was originally someone Haymitch disliked, but they ended up bonding so much that Haymitch and Maysilee considered each other as brother and sister. Maysilee will be played by McKenna Grace, and I instantly approved of this, because where do you even start with McKenna Grace? She's just 18 years old, making her 2 years older than 16, or the original age Maysilee was, and she's been in 71 movies and 11 upcoming projects. Like, this girl is so booked, and here are her films or TV shows. The Handmaid's Tale, Gifted, Captain Marvel, and Fuller House. The next cast member is for Plutarch Heavensbee's actor. As I mentioned in my previous Katniss vs. Haymitch video, Plutarch is probably one of the most intriguing characters in the movies and books because of how intelligent and cunning he was for the rebellion. He was originally played by the late Philip Hoffman, and portraying Plutarch is not an easy job, but Philip managed to capture Plutarch so well. Because of this, there's a lot of high expectations for whoever will play Plutarch in the new movie, and here comes Jesse Plemons, or the new actor for Plutarch. Jesse is an American actor who starred in different movies and shows, and he's most known for the following: Game Night, The Power of the Dog, The Irishman, and The Battleship. Appearance-wise, he looks a lot like a younger version of Philip Hoffman, and I'm so excited to see a younger Plutarch through Jesse. Up next is Beetee Latier's actor. Beetee is a District 3 victor who was originally portrayed by Jeffrey Wright, and in this new movie, he will be played by Kelvin Harrison Jr. Kelvin is an American actor who starred in movies like Mufasa the Lion King, Waves, Elvis, and Loose. Interestingly, and just a trivia, Kelvin actually worked with Jeffrey Wright in a movie called Monsters, so it's kind of nice to see that they actually know each other, and they could probably talk about how to portray Beetee in this new movie. Next is Wirys's casting. Like Beetee, Wirys is a District 3 victor who appears in The Sunrise on the Reaping. Wirys was originally portrayed by Amanda Plummer in the Hunger Games films, and in this upcoming movie, she will be played by Maya Hawke. Maya is an American singer, songwriter, and actress. She's most known for movies and shows like Inside Out 2, Stranger Things, Do Revenge, and the miniseries for Little Women. The next cast member is for Mags Flannagan. Mags is the District 4 victor we meet in not just the original trilogy, but also in The Sunrise on the Reaping. She was originally played by Lynn Cohen in Catching Fire, but this was for an elderly version of Mags. The Sunrise on the Reaping presents a younger version of Mags, and she will be portrayed by Lily Taylor. Lily is an American actress, and she starred in movies or shows like American Crime, Daredevil Born Again, The Maze Runner, and Gotham. After Mags is Wyatt Callow's casting. Wyatt was Haymitch's fellow district tribute, and he was known as an odds maker because he tends to calculate how much percent each tribute would die or live. Like, he's kind of a realist like that, and this is probably one of my most anticipated casting updates. Just recently, we learned that Wyatt will be played by Ben Wang. When I first saw it, I did not expect Wyatt to be Asian, but then again, he didn't have that much of a physical description. Like, throughout reading The Sunrise and the Reaping, I kind of just imagined this dark-haired 18-year-old kid from the scene, but no specifics. People were also surprised that they made Wyatt Asian in the movie because he's one of the few Asians in the entire Hunger Games franchise. Speaking of this, I actually read this comment that joked that the Hunger Games casted an Asian for someone who knew how to calculate odds. Like, they're trying to emphasize how Wyatt is good at math, and the casting director immediately slapped an Asian for that role, which is hilarious, but I get it. Ben Wang is an American actor born in Shanghai, China. Ben is currently 25 years old, which is a few years older than Wyatt in the book, but he still looks pretty young to me, so I can see him as Wyatt still. Ben stars in the following movies or shows: the 2024 Mean Girls movie, American Born Chinese, Karate Kid Legends, and MacGyver. Up next is one of the most recent casting updates we have right now, and that is for Effie Trinket. Effie appears in Hunger Games as an escort for District 12, and she played a pretty minor role in The Sunrise and the Reaping. She was originally played by Elizabeth Banks in the movies, and for this upcoming one next year, Effie will be portrayed by Elle Fanning. Elle Fanning is probably the most talked about actress for Effie, and fans have been begging Lionsgate to cast her. Lionsgate probably heard it because we finally have Elle as Effie today. Elle is an American actress who's most known for roles in Maleficent, Super 8, The Neon Demon, and Ballerina. After this are two more characters that I've also been waiting for. So let's start with the casting update for Louella McCoy. Louella is a District 12 tribute alongside Haymitch, Maysilee, and Wyatt. She was described as this little kid around the age of 13, and she will be played by Molly McCann. Molly is an Irish actress, and for someone as young as her, she has about 19 movies and shows, and these are some of them: Freelance from 2023, the TV show The Holiday, Herself, and My Sailor, My Love. The next cast member actually surprised me because it was for the actress of Lulu. So, long story short, Lulu is this character from The Sunrise and the Reaping who was supposed to be Louella's body double. So, I originally thought that she would automatically be played by the same person, but it looks like I was wrong. Lionsgate announced that she will be played by Iona Bell. I have to admit though, seeing this casting right now, Iona and Molly look pretty alike, and I can only imagine how it would feel like once I see the two of them in the movie. Like, I think that'll look incredible. As for Iona, she's an English actress who attended theater school to become an actress. I couldn't find that much about her, aside from this short film called Pulp by Ryan, and she has other upcoming movies aside from The Sunrise and the Reaping. Moving forward, we also recently received a casting announcement for Caesar Flickerman. Caesar is the Hunger Games host, and we already met him in the original trilogy, but we see his younger version in The Sunrise and the Reaping. We also met this relative Lucky Flickerman in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and it's implied that Lucky is Caesar's father. In the movies, Caesar was originally played by Stanley Tucci, and in this new movie, Caesar will be portrayed by Kieran Culkin. Kieran is an American actor who starred in about 45 movies and has received many awards and accolades in his career. Some of his work include the following: Home Alone, Succession, A Real Pain, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Interestingly, I was just going through his projects, and I feel like it's just the inner Universe fan who has to point this out, but I saw that he was also the narrator for the first two Magnus Chase audiobooks. That honestly shocked me, because I was listening to those audiobooks ages ago, and I remember thinking to myself that whoever was narrating this book was amazing. I loved how he read Magnus's perspectives, and he honestly had the voice that I pictured whenever I tried to imagine Magnus. But overall, I'm excited to see Kieran as Caesar next year. And last but not the least is the casting for Coriolanus Snow. Snow was originally played by two actors. For the original trilogy, he was portrayed by the late Donald Sutherland, who was phenomenal in his role as Snow, to the point that I think of him instantly as Snow instead of any other fan art. Snow is a very complicated character, and Sutherland managed to portray him so well, which gave fans high expectations for Tom Blythe. Tom was Snow's actor in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is a movie that focused on a younger version of Snow. As far as I've seen, fans loved Tom's portrayal of Snow, and I have to agree. He acted so similarly to Donald Sutherland, especially with that scene in the woods. He didn't even need to say anything. His face just gave so much emotion, and honestly, that's exactly how I pictured Snow in that scene. I think Tom did an amazing job as Snow, and with this, and an incredible actor like Sutherland, people have been dying to know who would portray Snow in this new movie. A lot were rooting for Donald Sutherland's son Kiefer because they looked so alike, and Kiefer was at the right age of Snow in The Sunrise and the Reaping. I actually really like this idea, but with Donald Sutherland just passing away last year, I tried to be sympathetic with Kiefer because that must have been a really devastating experience for him. So I think it's kind of insensitive to ask him to play a character that his late father did. I think this kind of explains why Kiefer didn't get the role for Snow, and instead, Ralph Fiennes did. I woke up with this announcement, and I was honestly so surprised. Ralph is an English actor, producer, and director. He's most known for roles like Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter movies, M in the James Bond franchise, and Cardinal Lawrence from Conclave. He has appeared in about 95 movies, and he's honestly a really great actor. I believe that he can portray Snow really well given his experiences, and I don't know if it's just the inner Potterhead in me who wants to point this out, but I want to talk about how Lord Voldemort, a villain whose face was literally molded after a snake, became Snow, who was also known to look like a snake. I think that's really poetic, and it already makes me love this casting so much. Overall, those are all the cast members we have so far. I'm so excited to watch this upcoming movie, and I bet all of them will pull it off really well. So, how about you? Who's your favorite cast member so far? Let me know in the comments down below.